tonight, and I will be using English, but I will have to use Yoruba as well to speak about this. I'm using English because I want, and then some individuals in America to hear me, because they have been requesting for me to use English often. But notwithstanding, I'm a Yoruba citizen and I'm very proud of my indigenous Yoruba language. Speaking English is akin to slavery. If you look at all the countries in Southeast Asia, all of them speak their indigenous language. And that's one reason why they are well developed now. So tonight, folks, I'm going to talk about Unitary system, and I'm going to highlight the fraud in that. And then you will agree with me with the conspiracy of the Fulani to continue to subjugate the Yoruba nation. Now, from the beginning, let me just quickly say here now, that there's a video that's been circulating in which the Fulani in Nigeria saying that they are going to bring in Fulani from the entire West African countries to Nigeria to come and help them to fight their war. Let me just quickly correct this erroneous impression. Fulani are very few in West Africa. Fulani don't have the men, they don't have the civilization, they don't have the wealth, they don't even have the weapon to fight ordinary Kanuri. Kanuri people defeated them, the Bogun people defeated them, the people in the Middle Belt during the Yadi, they defeated them, the Yoruba defeated them as well. So Fulani don't have the men, they don't have the military training, they don't have the capacity, but Fulani people, they have one benefactor, and that is the English people. The English are using the Fulani to subjugate the Yoruba nation. So when the video in which the Fulani were saying that they are going to mobilize men across West African country, what they meant was that they will get the support of the English, and they have always get that support of the English, but we are putting that support to test, and we will end that support. Because if the English people can vote for Brexit simply because they want to control their immigration, that is the number of people who come in and out of their country, because of that, they voted for Brexit in order to leave the European Union. The young Yoruba are saying that we are going to control the wealth of the Yoruba people. And that means that we are going to put an end to the Fulani subjugation of the Yoruba nation and their allies, the English. So let me just correct that. The Fulani has no men, no military power whatsoever. They have always been supported by the English. It is the English that are behind the Fulani to continue to subjugate the Yoruba nation. That is the more reason the Yoruba nation, particularly its youth, must support President Trump, must relate and have trading relationship with the white Americans, with the Russians, with the Chinese, as well as with the Brazil. I want to see how the English will continue to subjugate us by supporting the Fulani when we have all of the support. So this is just, by the way, it's an introduction to open this public speech for tonight. So I will be talking about the unitary system, and I'll be highlighting the fraud within this system and how they've used this system to subjugate the Yoruba nation. On the 27th of May 1967, Mr. Yakubu Gowon created 12 states from its original 3 regions. The regions in Nigeria then, as at 1967, were Western region, which is predominantly Yoruba, Eastern region, which is predominantly Igbo, and then Northern region, which is predominantly Hausa Fulani. Among the 12 states that were created in 1967, I will be concerned about 3 states. I'm going to use these 3 states to show to the young Yoruba how the Fulani have subjugated you. You see, you will agree with me that the English started trading with the Yoruba around 1760. And then for 200 years, they colonized us. But if you consider when they annexed Lagos, around 1864 or thereabout, they actually colonized the Yoruba land for 95 years. Throughout the period they colonized us, they were literally sending our ancestors into slavery in the United States of America and across North America. And essentially, they were stealing Yoruba resources to build England. Exact thing is what the Hausa Fulani have been doing since the suspension of regional government in 1966. So this is what I'm going to show show to you. And Hausa Fulani has the backing of one ally, the English. And to the Yoruba Muslims, let me quickly say to you, the English are predominantly Christians, but they are supporting predominantly Hausa Fulani for one thing: subjugation of the Yoruba people, to steal the resources. So it is not about religion. Hausa Fulani would like to pretend to you that this is about Islam. It is not about Islam. If the English stop selling weapons to Hausa Fulani, believe you me, we are going to overrun them immediately. But the English will not stop, because the English are targeting the Yoruba waterways, the Yoruba port, the Yoruba forex exchange market, the Yoruba capital market, the Yoruba revenue. That is what the English are benefiting from. This is what I'm going to expose tonight. So it is not about religion. The English are predominantly Christian, yet giving support to predominantly Hausa Fulani, who are Muslims, just to continue to enslave the Yoruba nation. We will put a stop to that, because we are the generation that will do it. So let me continue with that. So these three states created in 1967, be guided that there were 12 states that were created in 1967, but I'm concerned to show you how the unitary system has been used to subjugate the Yoruba nation. I'm going to be emphasizing 3 states, and the 3 states are Lagos State, Northwestern states, and Kano State. I hope you take notice of that. In 1967, Gowon created 12 states from the original 3 regions. I'm going to be concerned about 3 major states, and these are Lagos State, Northwestern State, and Kano State. In 1967, Lagos State has the highest population in Nigeria. The population was estimated at 2.4 million people. That was the number of people living, working, getting education from Lagos State. The Northwestern State and Kano State had an estimated 2 million people respectively. So in 1967, Lagos State has the highest population in Nigeria, 2.4 million. Northwestern State and Kano State had 2 million population each. Again, in 1967, Lagos State and Northwestern States were the same in terms of the number of local governments. Both states have 20 local governments each. So in 1967, there were 20 local governments in Lagos State. In 1967, Northwestern State had 20 local governments as well. Kano State, as far back as 1967, had less than 20 local governments. So you have to note this. So the bottom line of this story, when you want to see how I'm going to interject this, is that I'm going to show you how Hausa Fulani use states, local government, population, and landmass to subjugate the Yoruba nation, to literally use the Yoruba wealth to build the North. I am no longer particular about talking about oil wealth, because you all know now from my research, which majority of you have rejected in the past, you all now know that Nigeria is not sustaining on oil wealth. It is the taxes collected from Yoruba land that is mainly sustaining Nigeria as a country. In case you don't know this, the Yoruba nation is the majority in terms of the population of Nigeria. We are 25% of Nigerian population. In case you have no idea about this, 49% of Nigerian income, that is the revenue of the federal government, 49% comes from Yoruba land. And in case you still don't have an idea about this, Yoruba alone produces 80% of Nigeria GDP. So we are the economic backbone of Nigeria. But you will see how we have been enslaved by the Hausa Fulani. But the Hausa Fulani are not powerful to enslave us. They had the support of the English. So that is why we have to confront the people who have always been given the backbone to the Fulani, who are the English. This is a long-term battle. So to go back to the story I was telling you, in 1967, General Gowon created 12 states from the 3 regions. The 3 regions of 1967 were Western region, Eastern region, and the Northern region. As of 1967, Lagos State had the highest population in Nigeria, 2.4 million. Northwestern State and Kano State, as at 1967, both had 2 million population respectively. In 1967 as well, Lagos State and Northwestern State had the same local government, same number of local government, 20 local government each. Kano State, as at 1967, has less than 20 local government. But Lagos State remains just a state with its original 20 local government. From 1967, Lagos State local government, number of local government in 1967 was 20. In 2018, this number of local government in Lagos State, it is still 20 in 2018. But the Northwestern State was divided into 4 states, which are Sokoto State, Niger State, Kebbi State, and Zamfara State. In 1976, the Northwestern State was divided into 2. It was divided into partly Sokoto State and partly Niger State. In 1991, Kebbi State came out of Sokoto State. In 1996, Zamfara came out of Sokoto State. Now, let me now tell you the number of the local government of these 4 states. Be guided, please. In 1967, Lagos State was just 1 state, and it has 20 local government. In that same 1967, Northwestern State it was just 1 state with 20 local government. But from 1976, the Northwestern State was divided into Sokoto State and Niger State. In 1991, Kebbi State came out of Sokoto State. In 1996, Zamfara State came out of Sokoto State. Now, you have 1 state in 1967 that has been divided into 4 states by 1996. And let us look at the local government in each of these 4 states. Niger State consists of 25 local government. Kebbi State consists of 21 local government. Zamfara State consists of 14 local government. And Sokoto State consists of 23 local government. I want you to relax. I'm talking about state, local government, and land mass, as well as population. You'll see the fraud. So, the Northwest State, a single state prior to 1976, was divided 3 times between 1976 and 1996 into 4 states. These 4 states, among themselves, have 83 local government area from its original 20 local government area in 1967. So a state that has 20 local government in 1967 was divided 3 times into 4 different states and with a combined numbers of 83 local government, while Lagos State remains a state and 20 local government. You will recollect that Tinubu was frustrated about this analysis I'm making. Tinubu said that why should that be the case? Why is Lagos State continue to have 20 local government when the same state like Northwestern State in 1967 has been divided into 4 different states with 83 local government? Tinubu was upset because you will see, I'm going to quote the Constitution section 162, subsection 1 and 2, whereby it's stated that the revenue has to go to a particular account and you have to share that revenue with the number of state, number of local government, number of population, and land mass. You're going to see. Tinubu got so upset, he created additional local government for Lagos State, 37 local government. But Mr. Obasanjo refused. Mr. Obasanjo refused to allow that local government to be added as part of this Lagos State local government. Up to today, Lagos State still has 20 local government recognized by the federal government. Now, the analysis we've made is about Lagos State and Northwestern State. So I hope you're getting it. Now, let me show you what happened to Kano State too. Kano State was originally a single state in 1967 with less than 20 local government, Kano State. But it was divided into Kano and Jigawa in 1991. It was divided into Kano and Jigawa in 1991. Today, whole Kano State that had less than 20 local government in 1967, Kano State alone now has 44 local government, and Jigawa State with 27 local government. So if you combine 44 plus 27, you have 71 local government. Folks, I think I need to recap what I've just said. In 1967, Yakubu Gowon created 12 states. I'm focusing on 3 states now: Lagos State, Northwestern State, and Kano State. In 1967, Lagos State had 20 local government. In 2018, Lagos State is still having 20 local government. But in 1967, Northwestern State had 20 local government, and it was just one state. But by 1991, it has been divided into 4 different states with 83 local governments among these 4 states. A state that was with just 20 local government in 1967 is today having 83 local government. Lagos State 20 local government is still the same now. Kano State, that was just one state in 1967 with less than 20 local government, has been divided into Kano and Jigawa, and today, 2018, Kano and Jigawa are having 44 plus 27 local government, making 71 local governments. So you will be, if you have not been doing the research we have been doing as Young Yoruba for Freedom, the next question you will ask me, what the fuck? What is my business with this local government? What is my business with this state? You're going to get to that stage now. We're going to get there. Now, you've realized one thing. Just one state, Northwestern State, just a single state in 1964 is now 4 states: Niger, Kebbi, Zamfara, and Sokoto. Kano State, just a single state in 1967, is now 2 states: Kano and Jigawa. These 6 states combined, they have less than 40 local government. They now have 83 and 71 local government. Now let's go to population. That is, I've explained how Hausa Fulani create more states to themselves and more local government to themselves. But they don't just create it for fun. They create these states and local government to siphon Yoruba wealth and resources. Now let's go to population. We've discussed state and local government. It should be noted that Lagos State had the highest population in Nigeria as at 1967. The population of Lagos State was estimated at 2.4 million people, while the whole Northwestern State in 1967, which is today divided into Sokoto, Niger, Kebbi, and Zamfara State, had only 2 million population in 1967. Folks, now let us look at what happened in 2006, because 2006 was the last population census in Nigeria. We have not had any population census. As of 2006, Lagos State population increased from 2.4 million in 1967 to 9.4 million in 2006. So that is what we got. Lagos State had 2.4 million population in 1967. As of 2006, Lagos State population is described as 9.4 million. Let me quickly add to this. Remember in 2006, when the federal government was conducting the census, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu was also conducting the census for Lagos State. I remember then I was still living at Babish Tower in Lagos State when Obasanjo chased us away from 1004 estate. He sold that property to the Abebe family, Stella Obasanjo's family. That was where I was living before. So when Obasanjo chased us away from there, I moved down to Babish Tower. I was counted at Babish Tower then. There are 2 census personnel, one for the federal, one for the state. So immediately I was being counted by the federal, the state was also counting me. At the end of that exercise in 2006, the federal government said that the population of Lagos State was 9.4 million. But the same population that was counted by Lagos State census personnel said that Lagos State was 17 million people. You see, federal government of Nigeria is a criminal gang. Believe you me, it's a criminal gang. The same census that was counted together by the same people gave different census figure. But that is just by the way. Be guided by the fact that in 1967, Lagos State had the highest population in Nigeria, 2.4 million. But by 2006, according to the federal government, which was headed by Obasanjo then in 2006. They said that Lagos State had 9.4 million. Now, let us look at Northwestern State. Northwestern State in 1967 had only 2 million population. Today, Northwestern State has been divided into Sokoto, Niger, Kebbi, and Zamfara State, 4 states. I'm going to shock you. A state that was 1 state in 1967, divided into 4 states, now has its population increased from 2 million in 1967 to 14 million in 2016. In 2006, from 2 million in 1967, that population of Northwestern State increased to 14 million by 2006. Folks, these are all just fake figures. Believe me, it was all just manipulated by the Hausa Fulani. When that census of 2016 was conducted, this guy was the president. Mr. Obasanjo was the president. Now, let us go to Old Kano State. In 1967, Old Kano State population was estimated at 2 million people, while Lagos State was estimated at 2.4 million people. But by 2006, Kano State population, that is Kano and Jigawa, you know, Kano has been divided into 2. Kano State population had increased from 2 million in 1967 to 15.4 million in 2006. 15.4 million. It had a population of 2 million in 1967. By 2006, according to the census figure conducted by Mr. Obasanjo, Kano State, which is Kano plus Jigawa, now had 15.4 million. Lagos State in 1967 was the highest in terms of population in Nigeria. It had 2.4 million, but by 2006, the federal government said it has increased to 9.4 million. Now, folks, the question you quickly ask yourself, the Northwest population increased from 2 million to 14 million. It was 2 million in 1967. It increased to 14 million by 2016, by 2006 rather. Lagos State population increased from 2.4 million in 1967 to 9.4 million by 2006. Now you ask yourself, the increase between Lagos State and the old Northwestern State was 5 million. So you imagine these 5 million people, you expect them to contribute the highest to the VAT of Nigeria, because VAT of Nigeria simply means sales tax. When you buy Agbado, when you buy Pomo, when you buy Guguru and Epa, you get to pay VAT on it. And it is the people who are consuming this. So when you buy clothes, Tora Bata, Tora Shop, to Muomi Pure Water, you are paying VAT. So you expect a state that claims to have 40 million population to be the highest in terms of VAT contribution. But this Lagos State that they claim has 9.4 million population is still contributing 60% of the VAT in Nigeria. This tells you one thing: the population exercise in Nigeria is fake. Fulani constantly fabricate this population. But why are they doing it? This is what you need to know. They are targeting your wealth, and I'm going to show you. Don't forget, I started by telling you that they created more states for themselves, the Hausa Fulani. They created more local government to themselves, the Hausa Fulani. I have just explained how they created more population to themselves. But why are they doing this? You need to know. You need to know. I'm going to quote you a section of the Nigerian Constitution, Nigerian 1999 Constitution. By the way, the Nigerian 1999 Constitution was written by the Hausa Fulani for the benefit of Hausa Fulani only. Yoruba didn't write that constitution. The Igbo didn't write that constitution. The Ijaw did not participate in writing the constitution. The Constitution of 1999 was written by the Hausa Fulani for Hausa Fulani purpose. I'm going to read section 162, subsection 1 and subsection 2 to your hearing. You now know that Hausa Fulani has created more states, right? More local government and more population for themselves. But why are they doing it? They are doing it because of what the Constitution of Nigeria says. And let me read it. Now, under public revenue, if you pick up your Constitution and you're going to see it, section 162, subsection 1, that's the first thing I'm going to read. It says, the Federation shall maintain a special account to be called the Federation account. So that means that Nigeria shall have a bank account. The name of the bank account will be the Federation account. That's what the Constitution says. Section 162, subsection 1. It goes back. The Federation shall maintain a special account to be called the Federation account, into which, listen very well, folks, into which shall be paid all revenue collected by the government of the Federation. Into which shall be paid all revenue collected by the government of the Federation. So what that section 162, subsection 1 of the Nigerian Constitution is telling you is that we have a bank account called the Federation account. All the money, the revenue collected by the federal government will go into that account. What that implies is this: the revenue collected from Yoruba land will go into the Federation account. The revenue collected from Hausa Fulani land will go into Federation account. The revenue collected from Igbo land will go into the Federation account. That's what your Constitution says. The Constitution continues. Let me now read subsection 2. That is section 162, subsection 2. It says, listen, the President, upon the receipt of advice from the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission, shall table before the National Assembly proposal for revenue allocation from the Federation account. Let me just hold it there. So this section 162, subsection 1 says that Nigeria shall operate, Nigeria shall open a bank account. A bank account, the name of the bank account will be called the Federation account, into which shall be paid what? All the revenue collected in Yoruba land, all the revenue collected in Hausa Fulani land, all the revenue collected in Igbo land shall be paid into this account called the Federation account. That is it. The Constitution was written by Hausa Fulani. You know, I said in my video about Obasanjo, the enemy within, I said you are blaming the Fulani X-Men for demanding cattle colony. You don't know that Obasanjo has already issued a land use act that has taken the land away from the Yoruba families and chiefs and put the land into state government and federal government, which is nothing other than fraud. Because you don't read your Constitution. You see, let me tell the Yoruba youth one thing. Knowledge conquers fear. By the time you have an idea of why you are poor, why you are living in America driving car, why you are living in London taking care of the English old people, doing nonsense job, you don't know that the Hausa Fulani have completely taken over your wealth and resources. That is why we are poor in Yoruba. But my generation is going to put an end to this. So let me go on with this section. So that's what subsection 2 is saying. It's saying the President, upon the receipt of the advice from the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission, shall table before the National Assembly proposal for revenue allocation from the Federation account. But what are these formulas? What are these? I'm going to tell you. And in determining the formula, listen very carefully. The National Assembly shall take into consideration especially population, number of states, number of local government, landmass. I keep telling people that Yoruba youth are very gullible. If you know why you are poor, you are going to fight. The first thing we're doing, we're moving to the second stage anyway. The second stage is going to be bloody. The first stage we are is that we have told you the reason behind why we are going to war. The moment you key into this, you know that you have to fight. And in the course of fighting, there will be casualty, unfortunately. And we will remember you, believe me. So you see what your Constitution says? Section 162, subsection 1 says that Nigeria shall open a bank account. The name of the bank account shall be called the Federation account, into which all revenue collected from Yoruba land, collected from Igbo land, collected from Hausa Fulani land shall be paid into that account. That's what section 162, subsection 1 of the Constitution of Nigeria, written by the Hausa Fulani in 1999 says. Subsection 2 of section 162 says that the President, upon the receipt of this revenue, the proposal table before the National Assembly, proposal for the sharing of this revenue. What are they going to consider when they want to share this revenue? Population, number of states, number of local government, and land mass. Show you more by Yoruba completely. The first thing I explained to you when I opened is that in 1967, Gowon created 12 states from 3 regions. You see, before 1967, let me quickly explain this to the young Yoruba who are watching so that you get the concept. Before 1966, we were practicing regional government. Yoruba were controlling their resources. Igbo were controlling their resources. Hausa Fulani were controlling their resources. That was what we had. That was why Awolowo, because Yoruba were so rich, that was why Awolowo was able to do everything first in Africa. You're currently watching Big Brother Nigeria. It's being run in South Africa. We cannot operate it. Yoruba had television station before the people of South Africa. So that was the system that was in place. Everyone was controlling their resources until 1966 when that system was suspended by the Igbo and Hausa Fulani. So in 1967, Gowon created 12 states. The greatest state. Lagos State was one of the states created in 1967. Lagos State was created in 1967. Lagos State was part of the Yoruba Western region. So when some of the Igbos will want to talk, they talk nonsense about Lagos State, saying it was developed by the federal government. Lagos State was part of Western region. But we had 12 states in 1967. I've only discussed 3 of the 12. Lagos, Northwestern State, and Kano State. In 1967, Lagos had 20 local government, and it had the highest population in Nigeria. As of 1967, Northwestern State had 20 local government, and it was one state. But Northwestern State had been divided into 4 states: Niger State, Sokoto State, Kebbi State, and Zamfara. One single state, just one single state that had 20 local government as of 1967 is now having 83 local government. 83 local government as of this year. Kano State, that was created in 1967 along with Lagos State, with just one state with 20 local government. Kano State today has been divided into 2 states, and from less than 20 local government in 1967, Kano State now has 71 local government. That means Kano plus Jigawa states, making 71 local government. Now you begin to wonder, why are they creating so many states for the Hausa Fulani? Why are they creating so many local government for the Hausa Fulani? Why are they saying that Hausa Fulani has more population? Because in 1967, Lagos State has the highest population, 2.4 million. Lagos State now, according to the federal government, is now 9.4 million. In that same 1967, Northwestern State had only 2 million population. Northwestern State now had 14 million people, more than Lagos State. Kano State in 1967 had less than 2 million people. Less than 2 million people. Kano State this year, that is Kano plus Jigawa, is now 15.4 million. Now you begin to ask yourself, why are Hausa Fulani creating more states? Why are they having more local government? Why are they having this huge population? You need to read your constitution. The constitution of Nigeria is 1999 constitution written by Hausa Fulani. It was written by Abdul Salam Abubakar and 9 other Hausa Fulani. In that constitution, under section 162 subsection 1, the constitution says that Nigeria shall have a bank account, and a bank account. The bank account shall be called the federation account, upon which all the revenue you collected from Yoruba land will go into that account. All the revenue you collected from Igbo land will go into that account. All the revenue collected from Hausa Fulani land will go into that account. That's what section 162 subsection 1 of your constitution says. Section 162 subsection 2 of your constitution says that the revenue, after you have collected all of this revenue and put it in one account, you are going to share it back to where you have collected it. But how are you going to share it? Your section 2 of the Constitution, section 162 subsection 2 of your Constitution says that you are going to share the money according to the number of population, according to the number of states, according to the number of local government, according to the number of land mass, according to land mass. So from what I've said before, who has the population? Hausa Fulani. Who has the states? Hausa Fulani. Who has the highest local government? Hausa Fulani. But are they contributing anything to the money, to the revenue? So they believe they're smart. They believe that a generation of Yoruba will never rise to fight against this injustice, to fight against this economic injustice. You know why they appear to you to be so powerful? Because you don't expect them to put this in the constitution. You don't expect them to create more states. You ask yourself, what are the Yoruba leaders looking at? Hausa Fulani created more states. Why are Yoruba leader keeping quiet? Why are Afenifere keeping quiet? Why is Alafi keeping quiet? Why is Oni keeping quiet? Why is Yoruba political leader keeping quiet? When Hausa are creating more states, more local government, more fake population to themselves, and they are putting in the constitution of Nigeria that we shall share the money by the number of local government states and number of population and all of this nonsense thing. But you ask yourself, why are the Yoruba leaders not speaking up? The Yoruba leaders are not speaking up because they are afraid to die. Is it because Hausa Fulani will kill them? No, it is because Hausa Fulani has the support of the English. Hausa Fulani are not spending Yoruba money alone. Don't be foolish. The English are sitting far away in their London capital, controlling the Fulani. The Fulani are sharing the wealth of the Yoruba with the English. When I told you that we are going to work with Mr. Trump, you think we're joking. You don't know something. Some people said to me that, oh, we cannot work with Mr. Trump because he's white, he's racist. You are stupid. It's not racist. It's a businessman. You need to work with people who are going to help to safeguard and protect your interests. If you look at the American country, since their civil war around 1776, have you ever seen any Englishman become president of America? Irishman. Obama was Irish, combination of Irish and Kenya. Mr. Trump's mother is Scottish. I think his father was German. Bill Clinton has Irish heritage. No English has become president of the United States of America. Don't be fooled. Because let me tell you one thing about this, and I'm going to go back there. When we talk about white America, we're literally talking about 7 people. These are the English, the French, the Dutch, the Spanish, the Portugal, the Italian, and the Belgian. These are the 7 European people who made what is today the United States of America. When America had a civil war, you know who were fighting each other? The French, the Dutch, and the Spanish were fighting the English. The English were the one that was ruling America before the Civil War. So they were defeated by the combination of the French, Spanish, and Dutch. After that, this French, Spanish, and Dutch have been ruling the United States of America. No English has ever ruled the United States of America since the end of that Civil War. Now, the English MP are abusing Mr. Trump because Mr. Trump calls some African countries shithole. It is the English who made Nigeria to be shithole. They are working with the Fulani who has nothing to subjugate and control the wealth and resources of the Yoruba people. The English are responsible for the shithole of a nation you call Nigeria. So, folks, I'm asking you, this is why our leaders were afraid. They don't want to die. So we, this young generation, we have to think very smartly. So if we have the support, the Fulani has the support of the English. If the Yoruba, with our connection in the United States, if you get the support of Mr. Trump, if we get the support of Russia, we get the support of China, who is English? Simple. English cannot do anything without NATO. And what is NATO? It is called the United States. Where the United States goes, the English have to follow. The English will be forced not to support Fulani anymore. So folks, Fulani put all of this nonsense in your constitution. They put all of this nonsense in your constitution. So you will not be bothered. I will not be bothered if Sokoto state is divided into 200 local government. I will not be bothered as long as my resources, the resources generated from Yoruba, is not used to fund the lifestyle of the people in Sokoto. Like I said in one of my videos, Yoruba is the one paying the salary of Sultan of Sokoto and all Hausa Fulani emirs. I'm very grateful to God and to our members that majority of Yoruba youth now know that we are not running Nigeria on oil money. We are running Nigeria on taxes essentially generated from Yoruba land. Yoruba, we are the economic backbone of Nigeria. So that was what was put into your constitution. Very cunning people. They said we are going to take the money from Yoruba land, you put it into one account called Federation account. We take the money in Igbo land, we put it into that account. We take the money in Hausa land, we put it into that account. And then we are now going to share that money according to the number of states, according to the number of local government, according to the population, and according to land mass. Hausa kolonile, land mass is called ile. Sheba Hausa lonile, she Yoruba nile, she Yoruba lomi. Why do you want to for me pinle? Why do you want to say ẹni tó bá contribute jù sínú àkáǹtì yìí ló máa gbà tó pọ̀ jù? Ṣé bí Yorùbá ló ń contribute sí? They think that we are going to be slave forever. It is our generation's duty to change the course of history, and we are going to be brutal. Believe you me, there is no freedom without blood. We will take blood. That is a fact. Because Hausa Fulani are not going to give up very easily. But that is why we need the support of the United States, particularly the support of President Trump and the support of the Republican. Democrat, they are just useless. Look at what Obama did for Fulani. Obama literally threatened Jonathan. He said to Jonathan he's going to kill him if he doesn't live there. Buhari did not win the election. The election was rigged. Jonathan is a very weak man. He chickened her because Obama threatened to kill him. Mr. Trump is a very good man. It is a blessing in disguise for the Yoruba nation to have Mr. Trump as the president of Nigeria. We will get the support of Mr. Trump, believe you me. I like that man. I like him so much. I want the Yoruba leader to start talking to him. That is why I've written to Pastor Adeboye and Bishop Oyedepo that, folks, this is the time for you to use your connection and speak to President Trump. He's a Christian. That's why I said in the beginning of this video, the English are predominantly Christian, but they have given military weapon, military training to the Fulani, who are predominantly Muslim, to subjugate the Yoruba nation. You also get superior weapon from the United States. The Yoruba relate with Russia. We relate with China. Who is the English? So, folks, nobody will be concerned. Why should they be using the resources of Yoruba people to develop Hausa Fulani land? Like I used to say, are you aware? Like I was discussing with a friend. We were looking at the population of Nigeria before this presentation, because I have to write everything I'm going to say out. So I discussed with a number of my friends, and during the course of our discussion, I called their attention to the fact that if you look at the population of Yoruba land, from age 0 to 14, 15 to like 21, by the time it gets to age 40, it starts dropping down. Imagine only 1.9% of Yoruba population are above 40. 1.9%. By the time you get to 70, you see it's 0.4. It's 0.4% of our population in Yoruba land are over 70. Do you know the implication of that? That means our people are dying young at the age of 40. That is the life expectancy. It's less than 50 in Yoruba land. Life expectancy is less than 50 in Yoruba land. People are dying like flies. Meanwhile, the Yoruba are the people doing care assistant in London for old people in England. So the Yoruba, with their qualitative education, are taking care of the English old people so that they will get to the age of 100. Meanwhile, our old people are dying in Yoruba land. And Yoruba don't have the consciousness that it is the English that is responsible for our people that are dying. Because the English are using the Fulani to control our wealth. We take care of their own old people in their old country. We do their care assistance. We clean their hospitals for them. We clean their toilets. We clean their streets for them. Yet they work in our own country, subjugating us through Fulani. Are you not supposed to wake up? There are 27,000 English in Yoruba land. They are working in your shipping line. They are working in your capital market, financial market, forest trading. They are working in your oil and gas. They are not the best educated, because the best educated English are in England, working to make sure that that country continues to survive. That country is sustainable. The English who lives in Yoruba land are crude. They don't have the qualitative education that the Yoruba who lives in London or any English city. But the English are subjugating the Yoruba by propping up the Fulani. So this is the time for Yoruba you to wake up and face them, hands down. If they voted for Brexit, you see, the Scottish did not vote for Brexit. The Northern Irish did not vote for Brexit. It was the English who voted majorly for Brexit. Today they have Brexit. They voted for Brexit for one reason. They want to control their immigration. They are now telling us that Nigeria will not break. Are they crazy? When you are controlling your own immigration, you are telling the young Yoruba not to control their own ports, not to control their own waterway, not to control their own oil. Folks, you need to be reasonable when you are saying Mr. Trump is a racist. It's not. It's not. It's not. Look at that foolish constitution, section 162, subsection 1 and 2. It's telling you that you are going to pull all the revenue collected in Nigeria. You are going to pull it up in an account, and you are going to share that money according to number of states, number of local government, number of population. So Hausa Fulani created more state, more local government, more fake population to themselves. And so they are taking lion's share. But are they the one contributing the money? No, folks. Just wake up. We are the generation that are going to change the course of history. Knowledge conquers fear. I have said several times, there was a time I was assaulted. Today is February 1st. It's 2 years that I was assaulted by the police. I said to them, there are 27,000 English who live in my own country. If you think because I live in London, you can beat me up for doing nothing, I can replicate the same thing to your own citizens who live in my country. It's going to be fucking tit for tat. We are the generation that are not afraid of anything because we want to control our wealth and we know how the world rolls. The English are behind the Fulani and they are responsible for the poverty we have in Yoruba land. The shithole that Mr. President Trump called Nigeria, it is the responsibility of the English because they messed up that country. They bring up people who should not be together. They are now making debate in their parliament condemning Mr. Trump's statement. But they are the one responsible for that. Let me tell you something, folks. In 2008 or 9, I remember, I wrote to my MP here in London, and then my MP sent my letter to the Foreign Secretary of State, David Miliband. Do you know what I said? I challenged them for selling second-hand weapons to Yaradua. Yaradua used those weapons to kill the people in the Niger Delta. People who don't have sense of history, you've completely forgotten all of that. Yaradua killed so many people before he died. He killed so many people in Niger Delta because of their oil. Who gave him the weapon? The English. And you are now saying you don't want to work with Mr. Trump. The English, like I said, and I will repeat, they are not a Muslim nation. England is not a Muslim nation. It's a Christian nation. But they are supporting radical Fulani Islamists to subjugate the Yoruba nation. So you think it's about religion. It is not about your religion. It is about your wealth. It is about your wealth. Many of you who sit around in London or any other city doing mundane menial jobs, there are better jobs that are there for you in Yoruba land, if not for the fact that the English is propping up the Fulani to subjugate our whole nation. Go to your immigration in Yoruba land. Everybody employed their Hausa Fulani. Your custom, everyone employed their Hausa Fulani. CBN, everyone employed their Hausa Fulani. Everything in Yoruba land has been taken over by Hausa Fulani, supported by the English. You said you don't want to work with President Trump. Anywhere America goes, England will follow them. They can't do it alone. So that is why we have to use our connection to work with President Trump. The Fulani work with Obama. They work with Hillary Clinton. They work with John McCain to send away Jonathan. Let us work with President Trump, folks. Let me tell you, this is what I said. You know, I've said this thing time without number, the 7 main sources of revenue of the federal government. You know, the constitutions under section 162, subsection 1 and 2 says that we should put all our money into one account. You then share the money according to number of states. But Yoruba don't have the state, Yoruba don't have the local government, Yoruba don't have the population according to the fake population in Nigeria. So where is this federal government getting this money? Everybody knows, because I've been saying this since 2012 anyway. You all know. The federal government is getting money from NNPC. The federal government is getting money from Custom. The federal government is getting money from Federal Inland Revenue Services. The federal government is getting money from the Nigerian Port Authority. It's getting money from the Central Bank of Nigeria. It's getting money from Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. And it's getting money from the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas. These 7 agencies of the federal government collect 95% of the revenue of Nigeria. 95. Like I've always said to you, 20% of NNPC revenue comes from Yoruba land. 90% of custom revenue comes from Yoruba land. 80% of federal inland revenue comes from Yoruba land. 90% of the Nigerian Port Authority revenue comes from Yoruba land. 60% of CBN revenue comes from Yoruba land. 95% of NIMASA revenue comes from Yoruba land. Yoruba don't contribute anything to the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas. It is only the South that is contributing money. What exactly is Hausa Fulani contributing? Absolutely nothing, particularly the Fulani. In terms of the population of Nigeria, Yoruba are the majority, 25%. In terms of the income of Nigeria, 49% of the revenue of the federal government, Yoruba contributed. In terms of the gross domestic product, you know what that means? It's the size of the economy, what we produce, the goods and services we produce in Nigeria. 80% of it is produced by the Yoruba. You now have the Fulani who are not economic background, who produces nothing, controlling our presidency, in charge of our National Assembly, in charge of your judiciary, in charge of your military, in charge of all your intelligence, in charge of your federal civil service. You think they have the knowledge? No, I'm asking you. They are being supported by the English. English is responsible for Nigeria to be called shithole. It is the English that are making your life miserable. That's a fact you need to know. It is not. Some people will come around and say, the Hellites are responsible for Nigerian problem. It's a lie. If the Hellites are responsible for Nigeria, I dare the Hausa Fulani to make Tinubu the president of Nigeria. They don't trust him because he's Yoruba. You will see how Tinubu is going to change because of history for them. But they will never put Tinubu there. Even the English will never support Tinubu to be president because he's Yoruba. The reason is simple. Your shithole country is the responsibility of the self-serving career politicians in England. They are responsible. They are making so much wealth from Yoruba. All of you Yoruba who lives in England, believe you me, all you benefited living in England in 1 year. English companies, English establishment get that in 1 month from your oil, from your shipping, from your forest market, from your capital market, from everything they control in Nigeria. How do they control it? Through the Fulani. Through the Fulani. How do you say? You're telling me we don't need Mr. Trump. You're still thinking in the old ways. I've challenged Yoruba youth. I asked them one simple question. One simple question. When we had June 12 crisis, name that African country that supported the Yoruba nation. Because you think because somebody has a black skin is your friend. No. Name that African country. There was no single African country that supported the Yoruba nation except the Republic and Togo. And it is because they are part of Yoruba land. But we had the support from the Scandinavia country, Finland, Denmark, Iceland. These are the countries that supported us. They are white. And it is not every white that do that are involved in slavery. No, it's not. I want us to work with President Trump. It's all about business. You're not just working. If America should help Yoruba now to control our resources, to take over our resources from the control of Fulani and the English, so you think Mr. Trump is going to do it for free? No. We're going to give him some businesses. We're going to give American companies to come and help us to improve on our education, to improve our infrastructures like electricity. And we also trade with the Russia. We bring the Russia in to come and help us with our oil and gas business. We bring the Chinese in to come and help us with our railway and road construction. And our people can learn from that and be self-sustainable in years to come. We're talking trade. It's not about that somebody is coming to enslave you. It's not about somebody to come colonize you. Fulani are colonizing you right now using Britain as a backup. Britain give them military support. That is why our political leaders are scared. You also speak to President Trump, get his support, and you are not just going to get the support for free. You're going to give American business. Fine, I want to trade with them. Let me tell you something. Look at me, and I used to use Adenuga as an example. If you are to choose between me and Adenuga as a friend, folks, who are you going to choose? Of course, I'm going to go for Adenuga myself. Because if Adenuga is my friend, I will just call him up. Egmo, I need 1 million. Mo broke being coming. $1,000. He's going to give me, right? 1 million naira. Already now, you benefited from him, right? So if we do business with America, we are going to benefit from them. They are superior not in terms of being, but in terms of their education is superior than ours. Their infrastructure, they have superior infrastructure than ours. We will learn from them. What exactly are you going to learn from the Fulani? Buhari and General Alani Akinade are age mates. Age mates. Can you see the product Buhari turned out to be compared to General Alani Akinade? Fashola and Atiku are almost the same caliber. Can you compare the quality of Fashola standing at the United Nations with Atiku standing at the United Nations? Yoruba, you are superior to Fulani in all ramifications. Fulani has no power. They just have the backing of Britain. That's all. Particularly the English. It is the English who are propping them up. It is not about religion. Like I said, the English are predominantly Christian, but they are supporting the Fulani to subjugate the Yoruba because of our wealth. So we work with America, we work with Russia, we work with China. So be England, Shema, with all of this support. So you get it, folks. The Fulani don't contribute anything to the revenue of Nigeria, but they are taking the lion's share because they have enshrined in the constitution of Nigeria that we are going to pool the funds together and we are going to share this revenue according to the number of state, number of local government and population. And they all have it all because they have created it for themselves. Fake. Fake. Buhari will never talk. This is the corruption we're talking about. Let me give you an example. You have 3 friends. You have 3 friends. One has a PhD, one has a master's degree, and the other one has Bachelor of Science degree. 3 friends. The one with the PhD is earn more money than the one with masters. The one with master earns more money than the one with Bachelors of Science. So what the Constitution of Nigeria is saying is that Mr. PhD, who is receiving 100 naira per month, will put his money into one account. Mr. Master's degree holder, who is receiving 70 naira per month, will put the 70 naira into the same account. Mr. Bachelor degree holder, who is receiving 50 naira, will put the money into the same account. So all of this money will be together, and then you are going to then share it